Welcome everyone, this is AndresRestart, and what I'm arguing for this video is that Nintendo will never stop making games. So the reason I'm even bringing this up is because recently there was an interview from Nikkei. They interviewed the president of Nintendo, Shuntaro Furukawa, and a lot of people kind of took this interview out of context, out of proportion, and started crying foul and saying Nintendo's leaving the console industry. They're not. I'll go ahead and read this quote really quickly, and then I'll get into what I'm actually trying to say. Furukawa said, "It has been over 30 years since we started developing consoles. Nintendo's history goes back even farther than that, and through all the struggles that they faced, the only thing that they thought about was what to make next. In the long term, perhaps our focus as a business could shift away from home consoles. Flexibility is just as important as ingenuity." So what I'm going to be talking about is why Nintendo will never stop making games, but a lot of people have been talking about how Nintendo might be leaving the home console industry at some point. And I don't think that's ever going to really happen, at least not in the foreseeable future. The Switch is incredibly successful, Nintendo's very strong right now, and their central pillar for all of their different business ventures comes from their games. They all come from their video game systems, and right now the Switch is their main system. I don't really see that changing in the near future. Sure, streaming games may become more and more of a thing, but I feel like for the next couple generations we're at least going to have a streaming box with controllers and all that stuff. So it's going to be basically a home gaming system. So I'm not really worried about that for the foreseeable future. But some people also like to get into the whole argument that Nintendo might just move on to mobile or do things of that nature, and I don't really think that's going to happen either. Most gamers would not like mobile games. Like, I've tried some Nintendo mobile games, and while I do think they are way better than most other mobile games out there, I don't really play them that much because mobile games just aren't up to snuff. They aren't that good. They aren't what you get from a console experience. They just aren't even close. But without console games, there would be a lot of backlash. Fans would not be happy, and there would be a lot of money lost. And all of those fans that go and buy the mobile games that are based off these bigger franchises, well, by abandoning the console industry, the fans will no longer support it. A lot of them won't. It won't work out. So I'm not really concerned about that. What I really want to talk about is Nintendo's history. If you go all the way back to the very beginning, what Nintendo did, they made Hanafuda cards. They were playing cards. And sure, maybe they weren't very child-friendly, but even back in the very beginning of Nintendo's history, over 100 years ago, back in the late 1800s, they made playing cards. It was all about entertainment, playing games. And as they evolved, as the card industry sort of dampened and weakened, they moved on to different things. They started making toys, electronical toys, and eventually that amounted to the Game & Watch, and they had the arcade cabinets with Donkey Kong. Those were really successful, and eventually that led to the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, after the video game crash, when Nintendo sort of restored the gaming industry, and then, well, they just started making a whole bunch of game systems, and now Nintendo is what they are today. My point is that Nintendo evolved over time. They evolved as games evolved. When they first started, video games weren't a thing, but now they are, and they've progressively gotten better and better and better. Sure, it's possible in the future games may be different from what they are now, but only because we will find something that's even better, an improvement, an evolution of that. And no matter what that may be, Nintendo will continue to entertain, because that's what they are, an entertainment company. They've been like that since day one, and they won't stop. So sure, we may see Nintendo branch out with different things like movies, theme parks, mobile games, but all of these different ventures have a source, have a base, and that is with their console games. Their main big games that inspire gamers and create that fan base that are going to keep fans coming back for more. So I'm not worried. I think Nintendo will always be making games. If you're a Nintendo fan and you're worried that Nintendo may leave the console industry or stop making games someday or just make mobile games or anything like that, don't be. Nintendo won't be doing that. That's just not a part of their business model. They're always going to entertain, they're always going to find ways to improve and evolve and adapt, and their core philosophies for creating great experiences will always be there. But that's all, just a quick little video I wanted to talk about, share my thoughts on some of the things people have been talking about lately, and that's it guys. Anyways, I'll see you all really soon. Bye.